He walked into Jack Warner's office and told him that what he needed for his next movie. Okay, I can actually offer you a cameraman and a writer for the price of one. They're best friends and both immensely talented. Here is their address. Carl then took off to his car and drove to the address that Jack had given him. He knocked on the door a couple times, but nobody answered. So he turned the doorknob and noticed that it was unlocked. The apartment was clean and orderly, with many comic books filed in neat order on the shelves. Sleeping on one of the beds was a young man with long blonde hair. Carl poked him to get his attention, and he instantly woke up, not without shouting some absurd saying, "Poopy trim?" He instantly shouted. "Hello," Carl asked. There's no question mark, so it should say hello, Carl said. "Are you Jason Moose, the cameraman?" "The one and only," he said. "I've heard you're immensely talented and I would like you to work on my movie." After Carl explained the movie to Jason, he agreed and told him that he immediately knew what camera angles to use. They discussed this for about a half an hour until a bearded fellow in an overcoat walked in. "Hey, Kevin," Jason said. "This must be Kevin Smith," Carl thought to himself. After much introducing, Kevin promised to have a script ready for him in about 2 weeks' time. "Sure thing," said Carl, and walked to his car grinning from ear to ear. Don't you mean, and he walked to his car grinning from ear to ear. Having now got his cast, writer, and cameraman, Carl Denham now had to book a boat to travel to the island of 37 demons. Unfortunately, the best he could manage was a small steamboat captained by a young lad named Randall Graves. The boat would be set to leave at 4 in the afternoon on July 21st. After about 2 weeks of grooming up Holly and Michael, Carl finally got in Kevin Smith's finished screenplay. Sitting in his office, he flipped through the pages while Kevin sat across from him smiling behind his beard. "I'm so glad Jack recommended you," Carl said after reading the script, "because this is absolutely terrific work. Just one suggestion. Can Holden fight a giant spider in the third act?" Kevin immediately turned upset and went on to tell him a story of a producer who gave him that exact same suggestion. By the end, Carl was in tears. How Ethel Merman's hairdresser became a producer, I have no idea, he said. After many weeks of rehearsal, they were ready to board the SS Quick Stop and go to the island. All 5 of them boarded the boat and they went off to sail. "I'm not even supposed to be here today," Captain Randall, cleaning boy Dante, said. "Quiet, you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my ship. I am your captain, Randall Graves, and this whiny boy is Dante Hicks. His cousin Jill will serve you dinner at 9 in the kitchen. Until I think of something more to say, I will alert you. Enjoy the voyage." I think you need to get rid of the comma after until. Just have to say, "Until I think of something more to say, comma, I will alert you." I can't really show you guys the link to this because it's a message to me, so sorry. "Enjoy the voyage," Randall told the production as they sailed off into the distance. Everyone went off to their rooms to take a nice little nap. Jason and Kevin both shared a room with separate beds. Carl had a large room, just as he had ordered. Meanwhile, Holly and Michael both slept in the same bed, but their constant bouncing around stopped their neighbors from being able to snooze off. Constant bouncing around, huh? After a long nap, the 5 passengers of the SS Quick Stop went down to the kitchen for food. At the table, Carl Dunham discussed the plans with the ship's captain. "What we're planning on doing," explained Carl, "is going on the island and filming this picture every day. However, I don't know what is on there, so I will be requiring protection." Captain Randall said that his assistant Dante Hicks would gladly accepted to be which he was responsible with probably one of the few things he knew how to say. "I'm not even supposed to be here today." Randall, instantly getting annoyed, yelled at him, saying that he is going on the island or he won't go back home to New Jersey ever again. Since he took the job so that he could raise money for his girlfriend, who was placed in a mental hospital for doing unspeakable things to a dead man, he accepted. Do I want to know what she did to a dead man? No, I don't think I do. They arrived on the island, and Carl was very happy to see that the weather was perfect. He, along with Kevin, Holly, and Michael, got the script from his room and walked onto the island. Meanwhile, Jason Mewes got his camera and Dante brought his rifle. Randall was ready at the boat and went back inside to read Juna's Bible and maybe sleep for a bit. Back on the island, Jason was setting the shot up while Carl directed his actors and Kevin watched all the sidelines telling dirty jokes to Dante, who was laughing hysterically. This looked to be a good day, and Carl was very pleased indeed. Jason Mewes had set his camera up on the beach, which itself was in front of a large jungle. Carl and him wanted to film the dialogue scenes first, of which there were many, before started off into an action-orientated ones. Holly and Michael were already having read the lines over and over again the night before. After doing his directing duties, Carl rushed behind Jason and shouted, "Action!" into his megaphone. His actors started to speak their lines, and what came out of their mouths was pure beauty, which their director had never experienced before. He had to remind his secretary to get a hold of all of Kevin Smith's films when he got home, so he could watch them. After they finished the scene, Carl yelled cut and said to his writer, "Brilliant work, my friend. You truly are a master of dialogue," to which Kevin nodded in agreement. Just then, the trees started to rustle, and suddenly a giant slug appeared from behind them and roared menacingly. It was huge and slimy, with gobs of saliva dripping out of his mouth. I guess gobs is a real word instead of globs. I don't know. I came across the same word back in Mrs. Lovett's lesson. It also had large fangs of teeth that covered every aspect of his jaw. All everyone could do was gape at it, except for Carl, who thought to himself, "Damn it, I knew I shouldn't have used the megaphone." Finally, Jason, getting annoyed, grabbed Dante's rifle, which was lying on a tree, and pulled the trigger. However, since he had never used a gun before in his life, he accidentally shot Dante instead. Smooth. So, with one last cry of, "I'm not even supposed to be here today," he flopped to the ground. Well, Dante, I guess you're not going to be here anymore. The slug finished its minute-long roar without warning, grabbed Michael by his mouth and rushed back into the jungle. Holly, distraught that her boyfriend had been taken away by a monster, rushed over to the forest, but was grabbed by Carl before she went in. "Are you crazy? That thing will eat you alive." To which she responded with a puppy dog frown, and he quickly retracted with a fine. "But take Kevin with you. Who knows what's in there?" You need an apostrophe after the S for what's. Holly rushed into the jungle, grabbing Kevin's hand before going in. Carl Dunham ran back into the SS Quick Stop with Jason Mewes swearing loudly behind him. They rushed to the bridge where Captain Randall was scrubbing the window, which had a particular stain on them. "I knew I shouldn't have let Dante go. Now I have to clean all this He grumbled, but was cut off by Carl. "Dante's dead, and 3 of my crew are lost in the jungle. I know this is a really silly question to ask, but can you call for an airplane?" Randall stared at him for a moment and then told him that he doesn't have a radio, but Jill had something that might help. They were transported to the kitchen when Hick's cousin was busy making some sort of stew. When told the situation, he explained that he had made a very special flying machine and pulled out something out of a Da Vinci design. It looked like a 2-seat bicycle with propellers on top. Carl thanked him and told Jason to bring his camera with him, because they were going to do some more filming. And he's not concerned? Well, then again, he wasn't really concerned in the first movie. Meanwhile, back in the jungle, Holly was running like crazy, so much so that she had dropped Kevin somewhere. Dropped him? So was she carrying him the entire time? La 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 la.